and we got
Hi guys.
yeah, we got a few that are at various levels.
We're live
of the thing. All right, so we're live. So hey, thanks for joining us. If you happen to be with us live as one of our Patreon members, thank you so much for supporting us. We really appreciate and we encourage you to join us on the chat. Tonight it's episode 118, and we've got the legendary Dr. Greg Forbes is going to be with us. So we are pumped and excited about having him talking twisters and severe weather and who knows what else. Retirement. He retired, so we'll probably get into that a little bit too. But if you happen to be watching us after the fact, maybe on YouTube, and you're streaming it later, again, this is Stormfront Freaks Raw, because you're watching the recording. This is the recording of our audio podcast that we end up editing before we post that on pretty much every podcast site you can think of. But it's Stormfront Freaks Raw, so be prepared for who knows what. Can be a lot of fun. Could put you to sleep. I don't know, right? But it's unedited. It is unedited. So I'll just say that. And we do have Weather Trollbot 5000s on tonight, so keep that in mind when you know unedited.
Don't clap, Jen.
But if you would like to if you'd like to watch us live and be a part of our chat or join us or be a part of a lot of different tiers that we have, go to patreon.com/stormfrontfreaks, and you can see all the different options on how you can join us and be a member and support us and help us as we continue to put this content together for you. So again, we appreciate those of you that are members. But we invite more people to join so we can spend more time with you and interact with you more often. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we need to set up our monthly happy hour that we're going to do. So one of the things that our Patreon members can participate in is we get together once a month and just drink is what it's going to be. So I'm going to put a date together.
Why didn't we start that earlier?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
But I will be putting a date together, and Dan will be joining us, and we'll probably have another one or two people on that as well. But we'll just have one of the nights get together for a little bit of time. Just chat instead of podcast, right?
Yeah, cool.
Oh, a hot toddy.
That'll be nice. There's Dr. Forbes.
There he is.
Hi.
Hey, Phil.
Hi, Dr. Forbes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you might want to. I don't know. You're breaking up just a little bit every once in a while with the audio. The audio is usually pretty good, but every once in a while it breaks up. Just tell me.
All right, I will be back.
Yeah, maybe
we'll see you later.
Because lots of people can talk to Dr. Forbes. I know they know him, so there you go.
Dr. Forbes, hi.
Can you hear us? Hi, Dr. Forbes.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
What's going on? How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
In our test demo a couple nights ago, I fell asleep watching television and just woke up in time for the test, and this pretty much I have to admit is pretty much the same thing again this evening.
Retirement.
Totally okay.
Retirement.
Especially when it gets dark this early.
There you go. That's it, Dr. Forbes. Wow.
When you're retired, do you know what day it is?
Yeah, I pretty much know what day it is, but not so much now with the pandemic. It used to be that because part of my hobby had been to be out picking, as they call it, going out to thrift stores and estate sales and so on. I mostly was collecting autographed books, and then I'm a part-time book dealer, selling the ones that I don't want to keep. And so I knew that Tuesdays were Senior Citizen Day at Goodwill, so that helped me remember the day. And estate sales were Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday sometimes. And of course, now I have to rely on Thursday night football, Monday night football, and the weekend football to help me remember the days.
Wow.
Football schedule is the most important.
Yeah, there you go. Who's your team? Penn State.
Well, Kim was going to hate it, but
I knew it.
Just in case Kim was going to tease me, I had to have this ready. So I'm a Steeler fan.
undefeated Steelers. Oh my
and
god!
Penn State's having a bad year, and the Steelers at the moment, Roethlisberger, the quarterback's in COVID protocol, so that may help if he can't play. That's going to be a big problem for the Steelers.
I think even our college football game this weekend, the Buckeyes aren't playing. Maryland's got COVID.
Oh no!
Yeah, Georgia Tech is just got canceled, and Georgia is canceled also. So
Georgia too, huh?
There's four games in the SEC are canceled.
Wow.
So it's I can't imagine. Chicago, I think, went into lockdown, and Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, all those western part of the Big Ten, all those schools these states are just exploding with COVID. So I can't imagine how much longer we're going to be able to play football.
I know. I'm surprised it's kind of lasted this long.
Yeah,
you're a Steelers fan?
Yeah, I'm a Steelers fan, big time.
There we go. Yeah, I love the Steelers. My part of my family grew up in Pittsburgh, so didn't have much of a choice growing up. It was either like the Steelers or get out. So
well, I'm from Latrobe, which is their summer training camp in normal years. So
no way.
So yeah. So in the 70s Super Bowl period, I was over at St. Vincent College watching them practice live in the summers.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And favorite player, all-time favorite Steeler.
Oh boy, there's been so many of them. I guess Franco Harris probably, because he was both a Penn Stater and a Steeler. But there's so many great Steelers over the years that all-time favorite player is probably baseball though. Roberto Clemente from the Pirates back in that 60s, 70s to early 70s time period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, mine's Troy Polamalu just because of the hair.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Well, they on the Weather Channel, they made a mock-up the one time of me. They put Troy Polamalu's hair on me. Polamalu.
That's awesome. Wow.
All right, everyone smile really quick. I'm going to take a quick screenshot. Everyone say
I just did.
Yay. All right.
The gang's all here.
The most we've seen on here.
All right, yeah, we got a full arc tonight, man.
We all came for you, Dr. Forbes.
Yeah, we did.
Noah would be happy.
Yeah,
Dr.
Great,
Forbes,
thanks.
I will say this. Yeah, we have never had every single one of the co-host freaks on at the same time.
It's true.
And we've had Cantori, and we've had Carfagno, and we've had Reed Timmer and Ginger Z, and we've had all of them, but nobody. You brought us
Nobody
all.
brought it but Dr. Forbes.
Well, excellent. Thanks.
All right, well, let's do this. So, MJ, everyone sound okay?
I think so, yeah.
Look good?
Yep.
All right, so we're good there. Mute your phone if you need to. But I'm going to do, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a quick pre-opening. None of you listen to the podcast. I know that, but
I do. Last week I did. I had a big road trip and I couldn't find
did
it.
you? Good for you.
I had nothing else to listen to.
Good
I
for you.
couldn't fall asleep the other night, so I turned
So
it on.
we've changed our intro just a little bit. Now we kind of have a quick little teaser pre-intro, and then get to the music, and then get to the show. So we're gonna do the quick pre.
Wait,
tease.
when you say quick, wasn't it like 20 minutes before we got on the start of the show?
Last time it was pretty tough.
This was a while back. That was a long time ago. man.
Are we doing an experiment again where we
All right.
segment everything up?
Dan, we'll catch you back here in a couple minutes.
All right, Dan. Thanks, brother. All right, so here we go. I'm going to just do the quick pre-opening. In 3, 2. Hey, what's up? This is Phil, and on episode 118, we get to spend some time with legendary meteorologist and severe storm specialist, Dr. Greg Forbes. We also have hashtag WeatherFools, Sander covers picking a target on her Titan U Minute, and Weather Trollbot's back, so hang on. All right. So here's what we'll do. So we'll do our opening. We will find out what everybody's drinking tonight. And then, Kim, are you ready to do Dr. Forbes' intro?
I am.
All right. So we'll do his intro, do questions, all that good stuff. Kim, you can start off with a question.
Okay.
And then we'll take a break about 25 after or so. Take a quick break before we keep moving on. Dr. Forbes, any questions? Are you good to go?
I'm good to go.
You've never been with this group before.
Oh.
You're allowed to drink on this show, Greg.
Absolutely.
All right. So, hey, let me quick sound check on the sound effects here, MJ. How's that? Decent? That's good. Is that okay? All right. All right. So here we go. Coming in 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks podcast. It's brought to you by the Drive Weather app. Download Drive Weather now from your app store and get the hourly forecast along your winter route. Hey, thanks to our Patreon members for supporting the show and joining us live as we do these recordings with our guests. We'd love for you to join us as well at patreon.com/StormfrontFreaks. But before we get to our guest tonight, we've got a full boat of Storm Freaks to co-host the show tonight. We've never had everybody on the show at one time, and so they are all here. So I'm going to go down the row. It's happy hour, and especially tonight, we're drinking, having a good time. I'm going to start with Dina. Dina, what are you drinking?
I'm just drinking a glass of Chardonnay, kind of kicking back.
Oh, you're kicking back. All right. Well,
yeah, I'm kicking back.
I got the disco ball going here. I'm partying. So you bring your Chardonnay.
Wild,
We'll rock it. Kim, how about you? What are you drinking?
I am drinking. This is in honor of Dr. Forbes. It's a red blend. It's called Black Cloud.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Dr. Forbes. Yeah. So it's really good.
Impressive.
It's really good.
That is nice.
Full body. It's good.
Very good. All right, Greg, what are you drinking up in Canada tonight? Keep
well,
warm.
this actually looks like a glass of water, but it's actually seltzer. Just the ice cubes have melted, and this is a great way to disguise if you want people to think you're drinking water, but you're not.
Okay, so it's just seltzer, but it's
probably
seltzer.
moonshine.
It's a pineapple. It's a pineapple.
You know, Brady used to do that and call it like shot vodka. It's it's a glass of vodka.
Oh my! You know what? I probably drink more than anyone on this show. So
whatever.
Oh, you're a lot younger than all of us on this show.
Come on.
Probably.
Be careful
about that. That's not something to brag about, Brady.
Be careful. All right, Jen, what are you drinking, Jen?
I am drinking coffee, guys. I have work to do after this. I don't know if I've ever drank on this show. I do have vodka.
I don't think I ever remember you drinking on this show.
No, she was like pregnant, and then she was nursing.
Come on, Jen.
Then there was a blackout. I don't know what happened.
I don't think she drinks. Jen, I don't believe it. I don't think you drink.
She did. I thought you drank when we were in Oklahoma City, didn't you? You were drinking a little?
I did. I think I had a drink. Yeah, 1 or 2.
Okay.
Maybe.
you know, I
She
respect
didn't get
it.
wild in the
There's a
liquor
lot of
store with the
carbs.
rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll try it
All right.
next time.
All right.
Next week, yes.
And this is what happens when you have like 10 people on at the same time, is everybody's trying to talk at the same time. But MJ, what are you drinking?
I still have Northeast in my fridge. So
Who's your intern?
Nice.
this is Jacob.
Jacob.
Oh, hi, Jacob.
Jacob, the intern. All right, Brady, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking some apple pie moonshine, so this is pretty good stuff.
Ooh.
Wow.
Dude, that's what I've got. Apple pie moonshine with some apple cider. Good stuff.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys are
Does
gonna
it mix well with apple cider?
Yeah,
Be under the
delicious.
table.
Delicious. All right, yeah. Give me a little time. I'll be there. Maz, what are you drinking?
This is the tail end, the very end of an Argentinian Malbec
Nice.
from dinner.
Ooh.
There's nothing left
You
now.
wild man.
So that's what's left of the bottle that you drank? Is that what you're saying?
It must
I'll be
be.
sleeping before Trollbot. So yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, I think it's about time we get to our legendary guest. Kim, would you do us the honors, please?
Oh my gosh, I am honored to do this. So everybody knows him as Dr. Greg Forbes, and it's really I don't know. We don't even have to do a real intro for Dr. Forbes, but some people may not know, beyond the Weather Channel, what Dr. Forbes did before the Weather Channel. But we like to call Dr. Forbes Storm Master G. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but Storm Master G received his master's and doctorate degrees at the University of Chicago, where he studied tornadoes and severe thunderstorms under Ted Fujita, who was famous for his invention of the F scale used to rate tornadoes. He joined the faculty in the Department of Meteorology at Penn State in 1978. And there were actually a lot of people that worked at the Weather Channel who had Dr. Forbes as their teacher, by the way. He taught courses in weather analysis and forecasting until joining the Weather Channel in June of 1999. Dr. Forbes developed the Weather Channel Torcon forecast and retired from there in 2018. And Dr. Forbes, such an honor. We've been wanting to get you on this show for so long. And I remember meeting you in 99. And to me, you were a hero because, as you know, I was so fascinated by the 74 outbreak. And I knew you were instrumental in that outbreak and with, developing the F scale. So it was such a huge honor for me. And you were so kind and took time to look at some of my old magazines and even some pictures I had. So I appreciate that. But I think a lot of us we never thought you'd retire. We know you kept coming back to the Weather Channel and then, you'd leave for a little while and come back again. But before we get into the really, really, good questions, not that my questions can be bad, but you're retired. So what does a Storm Master G do when they're retired?
Well, for one thing, I take a hike pretty much every day. I hike the various trails of the Chattahoochee around here. It sort of takes me back to my boyhood days. I grew up out in the country of Western Pennsylvania, and we had a wooded area. So I would be out playing in the woods all the time. So I like hiking those nature trails. I try to take the trails that have uphill parts to them, so I get some cardio workout in the process. So that's the main thing. Up until the COVID lockdown here, or at least the trying to be safe, I was going out and picking, going out to estate sales and thrift stores and so on to pick up various miscellaneous things. You see some of them behind me, but mostly I was looking for signed books and sell some of those on the web, the ones that I don't want to keep. So that was kind of my hobby. I'm still selling some, but I haven't been going out buying anymore. I watch sports also.
Of course.
You got to get the sports in. But do you miss it? Like, do you miss the craziness, or do you like kicking back?
I like kicking back. I haven't been watching the weather all that much. Lately, though, I sort of always wind up going back to my damage surveying roots. The remnants of Hurricane Zeta came up here through the north suburbs, at least, of the Atlanta metro area, and were hit pretty hard. There was a home damaged in my subdivision, and there were trees down. So in my nature hikes, I've been counting how many trees that I see in each one of the various parks that have been knocked down by the ex-hurricane winds. I'm looking to see if I could find any pattern to it. There might have been a little bit of a meso low that was in there. I could see a little bit of a counterclockwise swirl, but not concentrated enough that I could find any mini tornadoes or anything like that.
That's so cool. I want to go hiking with you next time, Greg. I swear.
Yeah, seriously.
That is so neat. And I have to ask you this because I was so lucky to be your weather producer on the weekend on Saturdays. It was just you and I, and Kim sometimes too. It was the three of us.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so much fun. But from your estate sales, like, what is the biggest and most amazing prize possession you've ever gotten, like signed book?
Well, probably my biggest prized possession, I have a book that was written by Secretary of State, what's her name? Female Secretary of State.
Condoleezza Rice?
Condoleezza Rice.
Prior to that, it was, she was,
Albright?
Albright, Madeleine Albright.
Oh, right.
And she was in the Carter administration, but then when she wrote a book, there's a book that's signed dear President Carter, I enjoyed being in your administrations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that one is certainly prized. There's another Georgia political official that signed and endorsed the book to President Carter, and one that he and Mrs. Carter signed and gave to someone else. So so those are prized possessions, but kind of quite a few, amazingly, at these for pick up for a couple bucks. Amazing number of signed autographs that I was able to come up with over the past few years.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so awesome. So, what was it like to be a student under Ted Fujita? Like, just what was it like?
Well, it was really exciting because you were working with somebody that was famous. I went to the University of Chicago specifically because I knew he was there. He was why I applied there. Otherwise, I would have probably gone to some other school. But I was very lucky that he was able at the last minute to get a grant to come in, that I was able to then go to graduate school there. But each day, almost every morning, he would come clip-clopping. You'd hear his footsteps coming down the hall from the back elevator down toward his office. And he would set down his books and briefcase and so on. And before long, he'd be calling out for me to come down and wanted to show me or discuss with me what he had done the night before. He would take material home. Usually he would do a lot of those fancy drafting, those drawings that he's so famous for. He would take those home at night, draw them up, and then bring them in to show. And so that was always exciting. A lot of times he and I would go out on ground damage surveys and sometimes aerial damage surveys and those together. So those were interesting. Sometimes he would send me out as the advance party. And if there wasn't anything too spectacular, I would just do it. But if I found something new that I thought he maybe hadn't seen before, some kind of phenomenon, I'd call him and he'd come out and look at it himself as well.
That is so cool.
That's got to be cool. It would be nice having you as a neighbor, because if there's storm damage, I could just have you come over, rate it for me, and then I could call the insurance company.
Yeah, that's true. Before the remnants of Zeta came, there's a neighborhood Facebook page, the private Facebook page, that I had told people that they better have their flashlights handy before they went to bed that night. But the damage was worse than I expected it to be. I didn't expect people to. Well, we were without power for pretty close to 24 hours in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And without cable and internet for pretty much 3 days. So it was a real mess up in that area with so many. Part of the main road going one way out of my subdivision was blocked for a couple of days also, but there were other ways to go.
Now,
Dr.
do you have
Ford,
a generator?
Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, do you have a generator then when the power goes out?
I do not have a generator. The one night when it was pretty obvious, I went to a hotel so I could watch a football game.
What game?
I think it was probably the Thursday night football game, I guess.
Yeah.
Zeta hit Thursday morning, 4:30 Thursday morning or whatever. So I went to watch some Thursday night football game rather than just sit in the dark and do nothing.
Hey, that was Carolina, because didn't we have Brad Panovich on 2 weeks ago when that was going through?
That's right, Carolina. Now that you mention it.
Isn't it crazy how we are now without power and without power, without internet? It's like I'm going to see zombies outside, like it's The Walking Dead. The kids don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, I know. Without television, without being able to mess around on the computer, the cell phone and the iPad, I have various wireless subscriptions that are not part of the cable system for those, fortunately. So I did have some way of being connected, but there was where I live is not in a very good cell phone reception. It's kind of in a low spot right down along Soap Creek, and so I don't get very good cell phone reception. So to be able to really do much communicating, I had to drive away out to some place near a cell phone tower to get a little quicker response.
It's so crazy.
Jen. I just wanted to ask Dr. Forbes, have you ever done any actual storm chasing. So not the aftermath, but the actual, there was a movie Twister, and I don't know if you've heard of it. But I'm just wondering, how, like, was that part of your research? Was that part of the work that you did at the time?
That was not part of what I did or what Dr. Fujita did at the University of Chicago. We would be going out and looking at the damage after the fact, or what we did in real time was we would sometimes charter a Learjet to be flying up at cloud top, going back and forth to monitor if there was up or down motion in the clouds. That was the early stages of development of geostationary satellite. And the question was, could you learn anything about collapsing or quickly rising cloud tops that related to tornado formation at the ground? And Dr. Fujita had grants with NESDIS, the satellite folks, to look into that. So I'd be flying around in Learjet instead of chasing them on the ground.
Best
Once I went
storm chase ever.
That was pretty exciting. Although it was so cold there that the windows would fog over, so they had to blow hot air off the tubes off the manifold against the window. And at those altitudes, if the window would happen to crack, we'd have been dead in like 3 seconds from the decompression. So it was a little bit of nervous. And some of the landings behind the dry line in those real strong crosswinds, we'd come in at like crabbing, as we'd call it, like a 45-degree angle. And the very last second, the pilot would tip his wing down, and we'd be pointing the plane that way and flying that way. And we'd always wish ourselves, well, it's been good knowing you just before we make the landing.
Did you fly above the thunderstorms, or did you fly? I mean, you didn't fly through them, right? Because
No, we didn't try flying through them. At the very end, they raised the ceiling where how high the Learjet was allowed to fly. So in I think it was 77, we actually were able to fly over some thunderstorm tops that weren't that high, and we found a little dimple that had gone down, a little trench, and that collapsed part seemed to be the one that related, that we did find in those cases that there were tornadoes with those. The big overshooting tops did not. Remind me, I'll come back and answer your original storm chasing question, but probably the worst day of studying with Dr. Fujita was back Omaha, Nebraska got hit May 6, 1975, got hit by a tornado, went right through part of the western part of the urbanized area. And we were in a Learjet that day. I was in charge. We were looking for overshooting tops, and so we were looking around. We looked up in that area. The tops were just flat as pancakes, and there was nothing to see going up or down. And so we flew down to Oklahoma, where we could see some of the storms going up and down. So we thought we had a pretty good mission. We landed. We're, I think, either refueling or going to dinner, and saw on the television it was all just covered by the Omaha had gotten hit by a tornado. And so we drew straws to see, and of course it was always me that had to sort of be the person to sort of smooth out the rough parts there. So I had to tell Dr. Fujita that we weren't flying that storm. So he said, "Well, get out there tomorrow and do a damage survey." So the plan changed.
I was in Omaha. I was actually there during that tornado as a young
I didn't
child.
know that.
Yeah,
a youngin'.
That was the storm that got me interested in becoming a meteorologist, believe it or not. But listen, Dr. Forbes, did you ever accidentally miss storms and like end up in like Bermuda, Jamaica, Bahamas in your Learjet?
Sorry, Dr. Fujita, I don't know what happened.
No, didn't do that. Never did that. But sometimes the crew would, after we were done flying for the day, things would get a little crazy. The one time we wound up at the big Texan steak ranch in Amarillo, where some of you have been there, I guess, where their claim to fame or whatever was a 72-ounce strip steak or something like that. If you could eat it, and all the baked potato and salad and so on, if you could eat it, I think it was like an hour time limit or whatever, you got it free. So we egged on the co-pilot who was sort of a big burly guy, like a football player looking guy. We egged him on, and he did it, but he was washing down the last few bites with iced tea or whatever, just drinking it down whole. And he was sick the next day. I'm glad we didn't need a co-pilot, because he was just slumped over the.
Good thing you weren't stuck in a plane with him while he was in the lavatory.
Oh yeah.
I think our pilot has the meat sweats.
So going back to your original question about the did I ever do some storm chasing? So the primary amount of storm chasing I did was with the Weather Channel team, Mike Bettis and his storm chasing, the storm tracking team. And also with the Storm Riders. I was with the Storm Riders that were making specials for the Weather Channel for 2 summers.
Justin
for like
and Simon,
a week.
right?
Yeah, Simon and Justin.
Yeah.
And then with Bettis and his team, I'd go out for about 5 days. I think 2010, 11, 12, 13, I think, with Mike and the storm track team at the Weather Channel. So I saw some tornadoes in that, had some great experiences. But other than that, I was most of the time in places that Chicago or Pennsylvania that were not storm chasing territory.
Right on.
So, Dr. Forbes, in your career, what do you think was the greatest discovery or greatest achievement for forecasting tornadoes?
That's a great question.
That is a great question. And I think the answer would have to be twofold. If you made it warning and forecasting, I'd have separate answers for each of those. For warning, it's definitely Doppler radar. That has taken us from just very crude ability to detect the precipitation part. And some of my PhD thesis was looking at the super outbreak, what the radar looked like of the tornadic storms in the super outbreak. But your detection rate and your false alarm rate were not very good from non-Doppler radar. It has gone up, way up since Doppler, and now with dual pole and your ability to see the debris signatures, it's gone up even higher. And of course, the resolution is so much better. The computerization, so you can track things and see animations and put it into computer programs that project where the communities downstream are going to be that get hit and when. All of that is just tremendous advancements in the warning phase of things. In the prediction phase of things, it's certainly the continued advancement of computers that allowed for the continued advancement of the sophistication of computer forecasts. Compared to when I was a student to now, when I was a student, the resolution was grid points were 250 miles apart. You didn't even hope to be able to see a thunderstorm, let alone. And now the resolution is so much that you can actually predict and pretty realistic looking thunderstorm shapes. They track updraft helicity, the rotation, the maximum rotation that's developing in those computer predicted storms that relates pretty well to whether there's going to be supercells. So you can use the computer to predict all of these parameters that relate directly, the instability parameters, the rotation parameters, the wind shear and the vertical. All of those are done pretty well as just the type of precipitation patterns. It's amazing. They don't always exactly get it to the hour or to the county, but they get pretty close in terms of telling you that somewhere in the pretty close vicinity of a community these days might have a supercell go right through in the next afternoon.
So back in the day, they didn't have a class where you picked up dirt and dropped it to see where everything was going to go.
No, we had classes when I was an undergrad. I mentioned Dr. Fujita had a research grant from NESDIS, the satellite folks. Well, Penn State had one of those NESDIS guys. In fact, the guy that was the grant monitor for Dr. Fujita, his name was Vince Oliver. He would come in and teach for a week or two at Penn State, and he would bring along all that fancy material that Dr. Fujita was drawing up, and he would show us all those satellite results and all those surface analyses and the F scale and the damage surveys and so on that Dr. Fujita had done. So we weren't dropping dust or whatever, but I was seeing, the future there of what could be done in terms of tornadoes research. And so that's how and why I wound up making such a concerted effort to go to the University of Chicago and study with Fujita.
So, Dr. Forbes, what's the end game then when it comes to forecasting? Like, if you had a crystal ball to look, another 50 years out from now, how good can the forecasting get? I mean, there's still all these, it's weather, it's the atmosphere, you can't control it. But what's the possibility, and what would be the golden egg for you that's like, man, we'll be able to do this at some point?
Again, I think it's probably kind of like two scales in terms of longer term forecasting of sort of saying which days might have tornado outbreaks. I think we're headed toward a limit there of probably about 10 days from what some of the researchers indicate is the limit of predictability in terms of predicting those. When I was in graduate school in the 70s, about 3 days, I think, were the limit. And the Storm Prediction Center, at least by its different name at the time, it didn't try to make any forecasts more than a day in advance. But now they're making forecasts for out to 5 days or so, specific ones out to 3 days or so. And so I think there, ultimately, the limit is going to be there's still the input data. There's gaps in that input data that over time, those become bigger errors in the forecast that will ultimately limit our probably ability to make specific daily forecasts out to about 10 days in advance. Then you get down on the small scale, and they're beginning to use, over the United States, for example, where we have Doppler radars covering the whole country, put that data from the Doppler radars in to fill in some of those gaps, so that out to 24 hours for sure, maybe out to 48 hours or a little bit beyond, you can get there are these cloud resolving models that are producing more and more accurate forecasts of the tracks of individual supercell thunderstorms that the models predict. And the future is the National Weather Service is planning to transfer from warning on detection, instead of issuing warnings for tornadoes based upon where they see the hook echoes or see the tornadoes on radar now, and then just projecting based upon its previous movement where it will go in the next half hour to 1 hour. They're planning to go to warning on forecast, that it'll be some blend of where the storms are detected, plus where these computer models are predicting there's going to be sometimes dissipating existing storms, formation of new storms, and then timelining out ahead where those threats are going to be. So it's challenging, but exciting times ahead. That's probably not more than 10 years down the line.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's great. Yeah. Hey, I've actually got a question, MJ, for you.
Here we go.
You've had snow up in Minnesota already this year, right?
Twice. Ooh. Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Greg.
In October, and then
okay, great. And then I wanted to know, Greg, up there, have you had any snow yet?
Yeah, a couple feet.
That's awful.
Already?
Couple of
That's awful.
That's so dumb.
Oh gosh.
Wow. So here's my point. It doesn't matter where you live. Odds are snow and ice and wintry conditions are going to get in the way of your travels unless you've got the Drive Weather app. So listen, driving in bad weather, it's stressful. It's time consuming. It can be downright dangerous. I know. I used to live in Minnesota. I travel to Minnesota in the winter. There's an app that can make your next road trip more enjoyable, faster, and best of all, safer. It's the Drive Weather app. It shows you the forecast only on your route at the time you're expected to be at each point. It's an interactive app that's got a time slider at the bottom that lets you change your departure time and see how the forecast affects the weather on your route by leaving at different times. You might find out waiting a couple hours to leave, you might actually have better weather getting to where you're going and actually get you there faster. I use this all the time over the holidays. Every year I travel north to see family, and I tell you what, if you download it, you'll see why. It's available on iOS, iPhone, and Android. So visit your app store and download Drive Weather for free. But hey, everybody, it's time for a break, and the audience applauds when we take a break. But hey, we're going to be right back with more from Dr. Forbes and his lightning round. So stay tuned.
Woo.
All right.
Awesome.
Hey.
That was a good segue, Phil, into that. I was not sure what you were getting at. Asking me about the snow.
Why
I
is he
was
talking about
impressed.
snow?
That's Captain segue to you.
That's right. Work with me. So hey, Dan, do you have any questions for Dr. Forbes?
Yeah. My question is, in the next decade, what research or weather surveillance tool do you think will be the most important?
That's a good question.
Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Well, I think what we need is to have more Doppler radars, because the Doppler radars that we have right now, the radar has to tip its beam up just a little bit to avoid being blocked by nearby trees and buildings and so on. Plus, the Earth curves out from under it. So, what we wind up seeing is that once you get more than, say, 40 miles from the radar, some of the tornadoes and rotating parts of storms are going undetected. So, money permitting, what I think is needed are gap-filling radars that will cheaper kind of radars that can be put in between, that can sort of fill in the gaps from where the National Weather Service radars are right now, that give better coverage in some of those in-between areas. So that, in terms of warning, that might be the biggest advance if we're able to do it. It's going to be challenging financial times for the country, but hopefully
True.
The things get more and more expensive. They've done some changes to the existing NEXRAD radars to allow them to keep operating longer, but just replacing them is a big expense. And the satellites, they get more and more advanced. So there's lightning detection off the satellites that I think is exciting, and that's going to be another storm prediction detection type of tool that'll probably get more and more use. But putting up new versions of satellites are really expensive also. So hopefully we'll be able to keep advancing as much in the next 20 years as we have in the previous 20.
Can you find any of those at a thrift store or anything when you're out?
Yeah.
Satellites, Dopplers.
What do you got, Kim? What are you showing us?
I have to show this. Dr. Forbes, I know you recognize this.
I do, sure. The Super Outbreak 74 map, yeah.
That's right. Now, at the very bottom, which I don't know if you can see.
There you go.
I don't know if you can see that signature.
Is that a skeleton?
Did I sign it for you?
There
there
it
it
is.
is.
Oh, there.
Oh, nice.
Forbes signature. And it actually says, and he has it circled, or he has an arrow pointing to his name on it. It says, yep, that's me. Great Forbes. I have this hanging in my basement, but anyway.
Priceless.
That's cool.
It is
Kim,
priceless. Yes.
Kim was part of that outbreak. You were in the what we called the Sailor Park tornado, which was
That's
a suburb of Cincinnati. So
Yeah.
I had as an office mate for a while one summer a guy named Jay Carter, who had taken a series of photographs of
I
the
know
the Cincinnati tornado. So Dr. Fujita hired him, and he and I did some work together. Probably the summer of '75, I suppose it was.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, they put all of his photos in I guess it was the Cincinnati Enquirer, and I have that from back then.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's incredible. Yeah. Anyway, I had to show you that, Dr. Forbes. It's in the basement,
Thanks.
hanging up, of course.
This, by the way, October 23rd would have been Dr. Fujita's 100th birthday if he
Wow.
was still with us. So there's still some ongoing events related to that. I did a part of a documentary that aired on PBS over Mr. Tornado that aired in May, and it probably will rerun. It tells you things that most people didn't know about him, including his studies of the bomb damage from the atomic bombs in Japan before he came to the United States. So If you get a chance to watch that, it's part of the American Experience series. It's a good show. They were having a ceremony in Japan, but last fall I got a bad sinus infection, and I wasn't allowed to fly to it, so I missed that one. And now the ceremonies that would have taken place this year are all canceled because of COVID. So maybe sometime.
I'll tell you this, Dr. Forbes, you look no different than you did back in the 70s, except you have a little less hair. That's
little less, I agree. This is true. This is true.
That's it. You look great.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything before we keep moving on? Any questions,
we've got
issues?
Hang on there.
Do we have some comments from
Just say hey to Timothy here. He said good evening, one and all.
Hey, Tim, what's up, brother?
What up?
I'm glad you made it.
It's nice seeing a picture. Nice.
Yeah.
He said, "What's that? Pull up that quote he had on the derecho that went through New York on
That
the
one.
7th."
Oh yeah, I'm reading it now. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's crazy.
All your food's bad. Everything's gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Dr. Forbes on that one. I'm going to a hotel if my power.
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that.
I should have done that, Dr. Forbes. We were the same way. We lost power for like a full day too. And I had my daughter with me, and we're just like, I just pretended it was a fun camping extravaganza.
There you go.
It's just weird. You don't know how long it's gonna
You
last.
only do that
You're like,
for so long.
Yeah, you don't. You really don't.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it got cold, Jen. Didn't it get cold? Like it was cold for a couple days after that? But you had power back. Okay.
It was, but it wasn't. We were luckily okay because I got the power back before it got like too cold.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we were okay.
Thinking cold is relative.
Yeah.
It is relative. It was cold.
Copy that,
Down
Jay.
in the 50s, those coldest nights. We did have a couple nights prior to that got down into the 30s here in the Atlanta metro, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cold for us compared to
That is
way up
cold
north.
for you, yeah.
Cool. Well,
MJ, I
Tim,
feel like
thanks
these
for
guys
joining
just
us.
Can't relate, hey?
Tim. Yeah, really, northern boys up there. It's like cold. Definitely relative. But anyway, all right. So let's do this again. Tim, thanks for. I'm glad you made it on tonight. So let's do this. We'll come back and I'm going to apologize and thank you in advance, Dr. Forbes, that we're going a little bit later than normal because your stories are great. It's great hearing about this stuff and I know our listeners are loving it. So I appreciate the time.
You're no problem. I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's good. It's better than saying, yeah, this sucks. Let's get out of this as soon as possible. All right, so we'll come back. I'll start with a question. We'll maybe go another just 10 minutes or so, and then we'll do the lightning round. And just so you know, Dr. Forbes, we're going to play a little match game, and I'd have to imagine you remember the match game. Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. And it's going to be the match game on weather terms. It's going to be related to weather terms.
Okay.
So I need all my co-hosts get your paper and pen ready because you're going to have to write down your answer and show it.
Okay.
Kind of a deal.
Okay.
Do I need to write something down?
You
or-
do not. You
Okay.
are a contestant. You're the contestant. So we'll do the, hey, I'll give a story and then you fill in the blank and then you tell us what the blank is. And the goal is to try and match as many of the celebrities as possible. Right?
Okay, then.
All right. So are we good? Everybody ready to roll?
Ready.
All right. And Dan, thanks for, that was a great question, man.
Yeah, very good.
All right. So here we go. We are coming back in 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So we've got Weather Channel legend, Dr. Greg Forbes. And Dr. Forbes, so my question is this. So a quick question here. I know you were highly involved in helping out with the EF rating. Were you also involved with helping him with the F rating?
No, I started fall of 1972, and he had developed the Fujita scale in 1971. So I didn't help him develop it, but I helped him with a lot of the, acquiring data to fill in the gaps of the, how you applied the Fujita scale.
Got it. So here's my question, because when he developed the Fujita scale, the Safford-Simpson scale for hurricanes had just been developed and adopted, roughly not too long before then.
Yeah.
But obviously the Safford-Simpson scale is a little bit different, still measures wind velocity, but you can measure that and give a rating to a storm that's currently happening, right? And obviously with the F scale and the EF scale for tornadoes, it's a post rating, right? You're determining wind speeds based on damage surveys and everything else. And so my question is this, is being involved in that with Dr. Fujita, I guess, what was the thought process to go, this is a needed item, right? Like, we need to have this Fujita scale. Like, we need to have this post-event scale. Why was that needed? And I guess why was his ended up being the one that really was widely adopted?
And I'll tell you the rest of the story of that one, according to what I was told by Dr. Fujita, was about how did this come to be, was that, as you say, the Safford-Simpson scale for rating hurricanes had just come out. And Dr. Fujita said that his wife, Susie, asked him, why don't you have a scale for tornadoes? And so he said, oh, that's a good idea. Let's make one. And so he did. He made a theoretical mathematical scale for it, and that bridged the gap between the top end of the Beaufort scale that the Mariners had used and the bottom end of Mach 1, that was the speed of sound for supersonic aircraft, and made a wind scale that went between those. It went from F0 to F12, I think it was. And then he went through and said, well, there'll be tornadoes that could be up to F5 in these wind speed ranges, and sort of made descriptions of the damage that would be with each. There wasn't very much evidence in terms of engineering evidence of what it actually took in winds and pressures to cause those various kinds of damage. So it was hypothetical at that point. That's why in the early 2000s, the EF scale project began, the enhanced Fujita scale began to try to get better wind speed estimations. And the why after the fact, well, in the hurricane, they're big enough that you can actually measure the winds of the hurricane with at least above ground, either with radar or aircraft. With tornado, up until the time now that we have these mobile Doppler radars that can get real close, we still aren't able to measure accurately enough. The radar beam usually is too wide, so it doesn't get the full speed of the tornado. So we don't know, as they're in progress, how intense the tornado is. Except some of these mobile Doppler radars, they get within a mile of it, and they have such high resolution that they can sometimes see a little above the ground. There has been some radar detected 300 plus 301 mile per hour, I believe, is the highest that's been measured. So if we had a whole armada of these mobile Doppler radars, we perhaps could have a real-time assessment of what the tornado intensity is. But of course, that's beyond possibility.
So if an F5 is the finger of God, what's an F12? My God.
Exactly.
That is. I'd need some kind of military expression for that one. That's that because that's the speed of one of these supersonic aircraft. So you pick your favorite from the Gulf.
It's called oh shit.
Yeah.
I was gonna say snafu, but okay.
Well, Dr. Forbes, you used the example of theoretically the winds can be measured with the Doppler radars, the mobile Doppler radars getting close. In 2013, the El Reno tornado, if I remember correctly, there was close range Doppler radar. They did measure wind speeds in excess of 300 miles an hour, but in the survey of the damage, there was nothing that indicated that EF5 damage or wind speed. So that would be a classic example where the Fujita scale, really was the more important of the two.
Yeah, and there's and that was a big controversy at the time because the National Weather Service office had, been involved with the mobile Doppler. It was right there in Oklahoma City. It was a big tornado research area. That's where some of those mobile Doppler teams were out of. And so they initially called it an EF5 because of those wind speed ratings. But they were told then by National Weather Service headquarters that they had to go back and be consistent with all the other tornado ratings that were based upon damage. And a good portion of that El Reno area that was hit by the tornado was kind of rural. So there weren't uniform structures all over the place. So the strongest structure-based damage that they found was EF3.
Wow.
And what do you think? What's your opinion?
Well, my opinion at the time was that we should not ignore evidence just to be consistent, that if we knew it was EF5, then that would be based upon the best, all the available evidence, we should use that. The problem with that is that those mobile Doppler, even as close as they get, they're still measuring a little bit higher than what the standardized, basically the roof of a first story, a one story, or the first floor of a home. It's what are the winds at that level, and the Doppler are measuring a little higher than that. So that's sort of the how you can live with it type of justification, that it's not exactly apples to oranges when you make those comparisons.
So I've got a quick question, Dr. Forbes or Greg. So thinking back to April 27th, 2011. So first of all, I think everybody could watch you analyze storms on radar live, like all the time. It's just so fascinating. You're so incredible at it. And that day, I mean, literally every storm that developed, started rotating almost instantaneously. And it was crazy because I was working in Tupelo, Mississippi at the time. We had an EF3 tornado occur overnight in the early morning hours, killing like 3 people. We had a mid-morning severe weather round, and then they fired up right along the Mississippi River, shifting east. And it was so crazy. I would love for you to just kind of break down like some of the biggest moments of that day and touch on generational tornado outbreaks. Because when I then started working in Huntsville, Alabama, they talked about an outbreak in 1932 and how typically, things tend to come together every 35, 40 years, where all severe weather parameters are maxed out. And you just get, instant massive storms that start rotating.
Yeah, that, as you say, was a generational type of storm event. And it's why we have 2 tornado outbreaks in U.S. history that we'll call super outbreaks. The one in 1974 that had 148 known tornadoes in a 24-hour period. And then April 27th, 2011, we call that super outbreak 2011. There, in a 24-hour period, I believe the number is 200. And then it extended, as you say, beyond and prior to that 24-hour period. So I forget the exact total, but it was around 300 total tornadoes. Some things definitely stand out. It was one of those synoptically evident upcoming outbreaks, as you would call it. We were talking about the likelihood of a dangerous tornado outbreak several days in advance. I believe prior to that, the Torcon had been developed in 2009. And so I think prior to that, we were giving Torcon 8s or 9s for some of the Gulf Coast state areas. And then when I came in around lunchtime to get ready for the afternoon evening shift and looked at the maps, I saw there had been a boundary, a temperature and wind shift line across northern Alabama that had been left by the overnight storms, very unstable. The conditions of instability, the conditions of wind shear conditions, they were all as high as they ever get in that area, plus the boundary. So that was sort of strike 3 for that northern Alabama area. So I raised the Torcon to 10 at that point as in a forecast, and within a couple of hours that the afternoon stage of the outbreak began. And that was the first 10 that we had issued. I think there's been one more up in the Ohio River Valley that I forecasted after that. But then, as you say, it was crazy. The afternoon, the number of simultaneous rotating thunderstorms that had the tornado signatures on them. It was a matter of on the Weather Channel with trying to cover many states, it was not possible to cover every warning and do it justice. So we were trying to get a few and then come back and get another few, and I was trying to pick out the ones that either looked the most dangerous on radar and or were coming toward the highest populated areas, trying to save as many lives as possible. And so it was back to a situation kind of like Super Outbreak 74. The Weather Service then were saying that, the too many tornadoes. Then they were limited. The teletype machines, the little electric typewriters, could only type 80 characters per minute. Yeah, something like that. I forget, but it was so much that they were a big backlog of warnings stacking up. And in 2011, the warnings had come out immediately, but there was just so many storms that you couldn't deal with them.
I remember that day.
Does the Weather Channel? Just curious, does the Weather Channel give you any residuals
No.
for the Torcon reading?
I still remember the day that you did the first Torcon 10. We were walking down the hall between shows, and you were standing up at in the center of the studio. I think you were with Carl Parker, maybe, and we're like, "Oh shit, Dr. Forbes just put a Torcon 10," and there was just tornadoes everywhere.
And one of the most gratifying aspects of my career, I think it was the next spring or maybe in the fall, they had a community meeting in the Birmingham Huntsville area that was so badly hit, and they brought some of the community in to sort of, from a social standpoint, sort of see what could be done better in terms of the warning and process. And one lady stood up and with her southern accent said, well, when Dr. Forbes said it was a Torcon 10, I headed to the basement. And so so that made me feel pretty good that somebody was,
of course,
maybe was saved by the forecasting and warning I had done, because that's why I got into severe weather, was to try to save lives.
So was that your greatest contribution, Dr. Forbes, do you think, in your career?
I think probably that's the case. Yeah, the going back to the question about the Fujita scale, we needed the Fujita scale that Dr. Fujita invented, because prior to that, every tornado in the statistics in the historical archives just was the same, whether it knocked down a tree or whether it leveled a whole community. It was just a tornado. So the Fujita scale gave you some way to sort of quantify the risk of how common are these stronger tornadoes. And the same thing I thought was what we were trying to do with having the Torcon, that instead of predicting that there could be a tornado the next day, which happens a lot of days in some places, you could say tomorrow is going to be, a little bit out of the ordinary. These could be some of these days where you can long-track violent tornadoes and a really high number of them. And so I think the Torcon, that was the idea of the Torcon, to make it such that this is not one of your ordinary danger days, that you better pay real attention tomorrow or this afternoon or whatever.
Yeah. So Dr. Forbes, I think we got one more question here. Question I have for you, over the career you've had, which has just been an amazing career, what do you think your most memorable or favorite moment? If you had to pick one, I know there's probably a lot, but if you had to pick one, what do you think your most favorite or most memorable moment would be?
It's hard to pick just one. Being involved with the damage surveying to document the super outbreak in 1974, and then to document to make the forecast on air to try to save some lives in the super outbreak 2011, certainly are big events. But I was on air when the reports of the levees breaking in New Orleans from Katrina started to come in, and so that's certainly another memorable moment. And I was on air talking to Mike Bettis, who was out in the field in the El Reno tornado in 2013 when they got hit by the tornado, and that was some really scary times there in terms of because their van got tossed, and So those, along with so many, I always liked when we would get like helicopter video in of tornadoes in progress. That was just so much fun, especially if it was out in a rural area. You could just follow the tornado along and describe it and just tell every little detail about the funnel and the debris and things. And going back to Penn State, I guess I had about 500 meteorology major students over that 20-year period, including some that were on the Weather Channel. Mike Seidel was a graduate student of mine, and Jen Carfagno was a undergraduate honors student of mine. So
Adam Berg
was a student. Yeah.
Jeff Morrow
was a student of mine.
Now you're just
so
dropping
many,
names.
Pretty cool.
Hey, well, that's the sound, everybody. It is time for our lightning round. So this is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions. We always play with our guests. We invite everybody to play along with us, especially our Patreon members in the live chat. Tonight, Dr. Forbes, we're going back a little bit. You're going to love. We're going to play a little weather term match game. Yeah, good old match game. So if you know how match game works, I'm going to give you a little phrase, and there's always going to be a blank. There's a word missing. And Dr. Forbes, you need to come up with a word to fill in the blank, and you need to come up with one that you think will match most of our freaks, our co-hosts. So that's kind of the goal, is to try and match, right? So I've got two questions, and they're kind of based on, they're definitely based on weather terms, right? So you ready for this? All right, so freaks, get ready. So freaks, you got to write down your answer. Dr. Forbes, you just need to think of one, and then I'm going to ask you about it here in a second. All right, so the first one, a viewer sent in a weather photo to the TV station, and I was explaining on air that the fuzzy rods coming down from the clouds were called virga. You wouldn't believe the emails we got in after that. People complaining that we were talking about blank on the air. So I'll say that one more time. So a viewer sent in a weather photo to our TV station, and I was explaining on air that these fuzzy rods coming down from the clouds were called virga. You wouldn't believe the emails we got in after that, because people were complaining we were talking about blank on the air. Fuzzy rods, virga. Okay, so... All right, so co-hosts, write down what you think would be the best fill in the blank there on what people were complaining was being discussed on air. And Dr. Forbes, I'm going to go to you. You wouldn't believe the emails we got in after that. People complaining we were talking about what on the air?
Well, the word sounds a little bit like virgins, so maybe that.
Virgins. Okay. Virgins.
Yeah.
So all right, so let's see how we match here. I'm going to start with Greg. Greg, no, wait, hold off. I'm gonna go down the row. So I'm starting with Greg.
Rules.
Greg, what'd you say? Vagina. Not quite. We weren't talking about vagina. Brady, what'd you have?
Virgins.
Virgins?
With the frowny face.
Very good. All right, we got a match. Maz, what'd you have?
You got it.
Yeah.
Virgins.
Got on there. Can't tell.
Very good. All right, we got two for you, Dr. Forbes. That's awesome. This is great. Jen, what do you got?
I don't understand this game. I just said funnel clouds.
Okay.
You're too sweet.
All right.
You're too nice.
Hopefully you'll get it for the second question. But all right, Kim, what did you have?
The G-rated part of the
What do
show.
you think?
Yes.
What do you think, huh?
There you go.
Very good. On the same wavelength. MJ? Okay. Not quite. We're close. Dina, what did you get? Can't see it.
There you go.
Yeah, you got it.
Very good. Wow. You got,
I'm really impressed.
you matched 4 on that one. That's pretty good. All right, so good job, Dr. Forbes. Here we go. Here's the second and last one. My buddies and I. What's that?
Did you say second and last?
Yes. My buddies and I, we were hanging around in the garage, drinking beer and watching football. After a storm passed through, I told them that the musty, earthy smell after storms is called petrichor. One of my friends laughed and said, "No, you smell blank."
Is this supposed to be dirty?
I don't know. So my buddies and I were hanging around in my garage drinking beer and watching football. And after the storm passed through, I told them that the musty, earthy smell after storms, it's called petrichor. And one of my friends laughed at me and said, "No, you smell blank." All right, so freaks, write down your response. You smell blank.
Harder.
All right, so I'm going to go to Dr. Forbes. Buddies hanging out, drinking beer and watching football. A storm passed through, and the smart meteorologist said, "No, that musty, earthy smell after storms, it's called petrichor." But one of my friends laughed and said, "No, you smell what?"
Well, I guess I'll go out to Tornado Alley area where there's a lot of cattle, and I'll say manure.
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 All right, you smell manure. So we're going to go backwards, Dean. I'm going to start with you this time. What did you come up with?
I didn't get it. Warm beer.
Warm beer. Nope, not quite. MJ, what do you got?
My socks.
It's probably true, but no, that's not correct. Kim?
My burps.
Oh, yeah.
Good, but no, that's probably what he might have been smelling. Jen?
Well, so I don't know how my answers are. I said shit.
That works.
You gotta give it.
There you go.
There we
That
go.
works the same. Yeah,
You redeemed yourself.
very good. See, it only took 2 questions for you to figure out how this game works. That's pretty good. All right, Maz, what'd you come up with?
I came up with Petra burritos.
Good. That was good answer, but it's not a match. All right, Brady.
My BO.
Yeah, that's
And he's got the picture.
Not
It spells
not
boo,
quite.
doesn't it?
Not
I know,
quite
exactly.
boo. All right, Greg, what'd you come up with?
Yeah, I was along the same lines as Maz. I said nacho farts.
There you go.
Not a match, but
Fire in the garage.
You did get 1 match on that one and a ton on the first one. So Dr. Forbes, great job. Definitely well done on that. So do me a favor, Dr. Forbes. How can people follow you on social media? I mean, now you're in retirement, but I'd imagine people can still follow you. What's going on, right? Where are you on social media?
I'm pretty inactive, but I do have a Facebook page. If you look for Greg Forbes on Facebook, there's a bunch of us by the same name, but you probably will see my picture there, so you can probably follow. But the only thing I'm posting there is pictures from my daily hikes. So you'll see pictures of spiders and trees and rocks and stuff like that. Occasionally something that's weather related.
It's like my first apartment.
Very good. Well, hey, I'll tell you what, it's time to start putting together your holiday wish list together with all your favorite weather geek faves at helicity.co. They have a huge selection of weather-themed merchandise, including Stormfront Freaks shirts and mugs and face masks and stickers. Just go to helicity.co and click on the Brands tab to find all your favorite Stormfront Freaks favorites. So, hey, it's time for our final break. We've got Weather Fools, and we've also got a visit from Weather Trollbot 5000 coming up, so stay tuned. It's all coming up next, everybody.
Run, Dr. Forbes, run.
Dr. Forbes, thank you so much for your
Dr.
time.
Forbes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So
Great
amazing.
seeing you.
Can you do
love
me
you.
one quick favor? Can you do a sound bite for us?
Yeah.
And just say, hey, this is Dr. Greg Forbes, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Stormfront Freaks podcast. All right, I'll try. Hey, this is Dr. Greg Forbes, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Awesome.
Yay.
Wow.
Cantori did that in 5 takes, by the way.
And he's been
That's
on the
true.
show twice, I think,
Yeah.
right? And he
That's
still
true.
couldn't do it.
I do appreciate your time, Dr. Forbes. So here's what we'll do. We edit this recording for the audio podcast, and we usually post that Sunday on Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and Spotify and all that stuff. So I will, you said you're a little bit on Facebook, so I'll make sure I kind of tag you on Facebook so you see when it's up as well.
Okay.
So if you want to go back and listen, you can.
Yeah.
But none of our co-hosts listen to it, so
I-
if you don't, that's okay.
Hey!
I caught a
I
show.
listened to it when I was in the car. I made all my friends listen to it. And they
All
liked
right.
it.
But I do
Oh,
appreciate
yay.
your time.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it. Have a good evening, all of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
job.
good job.
Good
I'll
seeing
see ya.
good seeing you guys.
All right,
All right.
so I have to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
And I'll be right back. I have to
Me
put my
too.
son to bed. I'll be back.
Everybody's leaving.
See you later. Bye, guys.
All right, guys, let's party while they're gone.
Oh, look at that.
Man, I like
They
that
are all
background.
disappearing.
I could
They're all
actually,
disappearing, but Dan's back. So there you go.
I
Yeah,
could
I like
actually
that
go
background.
grab a drink too. However, I'm not wearing pants. So if I
all
get up
right.
right now and
Do you at least have
Yeah.
underwear?
oh, I do. Oh
Really
yeah, yeah,
get a
yeah,
mask
yeah,
shot.
yeah. I got it.
Wow.
Is that Petra Burrito Ice? Man?
Guys, I can't believe
Dina, you still got time for a brief interview at the end?
Yeah, if we do it kind of quick, or
Yeah,
if
it's
you want
getting
to
kind of
even
late,
ask.
so I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, I mean we could still do it. Do you have anything you want to ask? Well, we got a few minutes.
You wanna
Dina,
ask it now?
he grills you with questions. Dina, be careful.
Okay.
Questions now.
Yeah, get a couple of them in.
Sure.
I mean, you could ask one or two before we get going.
How long have you been interested in meteorology?
Well, I've been a meteorologist for about 23 years. But I didn't get started on it right away, where you have all these stories of like, oh, I was a kid and there was tornadoes and blah. That was not me. I started in aviation. I was a pilot, a private pilot, and realized that took a lot of money. I got a license, but I just didn't have the kind of money to keep going with that. And I discovered weather and realized I could actually make a living with that and liked it. And so I kind of like veered off from that. Plus I started working for Continental Airlines when they were still a thing. And I kind of saw how that life was of flying. It wasn't the kind of life I really wanted to lead. And then weather just kind of like, wow, weather's great. It impacts everybody. And I don't necessarily have to keep going to school unless I want to.
So to answer your question, 3 years, just 3 years she's been interested.
That's a long-winded question, but like my biggest joke is I'm not that kid that saw a tornado and flipped my lid and was like, holy shit, I got to be a meteorologist for the rest of my life. No.
Sorry,
I'm the
Dina.
same way though, Dina. I'm the same way in that.
Yeah.
Totally the same way.
I've
So
never
agreeable.
One more.
Okay.
Do you currently have a career in meteorology?
Yes. I
what
work
do you
for the
do?
Weather Channel's digital. So everything you see on the Weather Channel app, 99.9% of the graphics on there I make. And I help decide the stories, the weather stories we cover. I put together their weather hits. I weather produce their shows. So
Oh, I didn't
Kind of a
even know that.
badass.
Very definitely.
That is
What's
really
your weather
badass.
on?
That is badass.
It is badass.
everything you
Yeah.
see on your app, I pretty much made it.
That's incredible.
I use that app.
That's
so
because
that's
we don't
kinda
really have a
cool.
lot, we don't have a big staff either. So I got to make it.
Dina, are you doing that all remotely?
Yeah, I can do it. I like remote. No problem.
She could do it hammered.
I'm drunk at my desk and nobody gives me shit about it.
I love you.
We should just do a podcast where Dina just screen shares the whole time and she's on like a shift.
What I do
Like,
when
what are
I
you
get
doing there?
what I do when I'm in a mood is I Giphy everything. Every
Nice.
reply I have is a GIF.
I love
Like one
that.
of these or like, haha, like it's a Giphy.
A cat.
Yeah, no one commented on my shirt except for Dan.
I saw it.
I like it.
Look, they're
I
fawning
have to
on
do one for my
bacon.
son.
Oh, that's
Oh, I didn't know
amazing.
that.
It's
Send
epic.
me the link. Did you get that on Amazon?
I did, yeah.
I have to get it for my son for Christmas.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to get it for myself. Oh, you don't know how sad that statement was, Dina. In my world.
No way! This is an epic T-shirt, Phil. You're just jealous.
Dina, are you Weather Underground?
Well, they're part of us now. The weather company bought Weather Underground, but really everybody from Weather Underground's been laid off.
Really?
Ooh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
wow.
really not anybody from Weather Underground left.
It's like a
Oh my
janitor doing the
God.
forecast or what?
No, I mean, we still have, our big thing, while we still have the GFC, like you guys know, the Global Forecast Center, those meteorologists are part of the weather company. Like all the data and stuff IBM owns. So we have, and then we have the IBM graph. So everything except TV came to us. And then we brought like Weather Underground and all that, and all their stuff kind of blended into one. But we've laid off people too. So Jeff Masters, it's just
Oh my god.
stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, what a
He's
what a
like
loss.
I
What a
know.
loss.
a
I
huge
know.
loss.
Mm-mm-mm.
What is he
Wow.
doing now?
I know he's writing I don't really know. I've talked to him. He and I get along pretty well. It was nice having him around. We still have WSI, which is Weather Service International, but they don't even go by that anymore. They go by the weather companies. So we have Andover and we have all their forecasters.
Right.
So, we have our hands in everything. We just bought everything and consolidated and,
That's what happens.
Yeah.
People get let
So
go.
that's the one thing, Jake, with this business.
Mm-mm-mm.
You can be the golden child one day and out on your ass the next.
It's
So-
brutal.
Yeah.
It is
and I hate to say it
brutal.
like that, but you really have to make yourself invaluable.
That's true.
So good luck and have a great future.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like when Dr. Forbes was talking,
Golden shit.
maybe who knows in so many years where these models, they don't even need us anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's kind of insane too. Like he came up with Torcon, and he doesn't like the
Yeah.
Weather Channel just kind of owns it, it was kind of his thing,
No.
So it's really interesting.
Mhm.
All right.
Interesting.
So let's talk about final segments. So we'll start with Weather Fools. Brady, you'll do the intro. Okay, I'll do. We'll do the Who sound clip coming in. So I have got 4 Weather Fools.
If you got weather
Oh.
fools, share your screen right now.
Phil, that's
yeah.
just absurd.
That's absurd.
I've
I gotta go to
one.
work tomorrow,
It's
Phil.
10:20, Phil.
I can't.
I'll be quicker than you will. Any of you will with your one, probably.
I don't think
All right.
so. You know what?
I don't think so.
Hey, I call the alligator. By the way, the alligator's mine.
Oh my god!
All right.
I was gonna do the
I'm sorry.
alligator.
Hey, you know what? I called dibs because I actually was on that tee box that alligator is on. I literally golfed that golf course a couple weeks ago.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Can I
well,
call that?
man.
You
He ate
need
your
to
ball.
like that
Fine
in the
then. I'm
ball.
doing the snake. That alligator was huge. It is a dinosaur.
Massive.
I just want to hear like
Scary.
bad of the bone. Da, 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 da,
All
da.
right. So Brady's got one. Jen's got one. Dina has one.
I have one
Wow.
MJ,
MJ.
listener.
Who else? Any other Weather Fools?
I got one.
Greg.
Greg, I don't see your screen.
Oh,
like 20
I
years,
did
isn't
share it earlier, but then I had to go back out.
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
You did, and then it left.
Yeah,
He started. He started surfing porn,
give
and he
you
realized he
$10
can't.
if you don't do one.
Jen, did you have one?
I do. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me
I don't
see.
yours.
I've got all
listen,
my other
Jacob.
tabs. I got all the other tabs closed.
I see me and Dina and Phil and
This is
Brady.
actually
and Greg.
from Brad. Brad Panovich tweeted this.
Mhm.
Okay, so I just completely missed that. What? So who has it? Writing it down.
Raise your
Phil,
hands.
Brady,
Dina?
Jen, Dina, MJ, Greg.
Wow.
And Phil, you're still going to do 4.
Yeah, he's got Phil.
I'll
Phil.
go
He's
through
still
them
gonna do
quick. I'll
4.
go through them quick.
Me, I don't know why I wrote. I don't know why. I literally write my own name down for this. I don't know why I did that. Phil, Dina, Jen, Greg, and
MJ and you.
okay, I'll write myself twice. Sounds good.
Are you drunk?
And then it'll be
Phil, I
midnight.
will send you the link this week.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody, please send me the link because I put that on the show notes. And if you don't send me the link, I got to try and find it.
I
which-
sent it.
Phil, I just
Takes
put it in the
time.
private chat, or do you want me to email it?
No, email it to me, please. Yeah, I'm not smart enough. to
Also, Phil, you
transfer it.
emailed me a blank email earlier today. And
I know, but I followed up with the right one, so shut up.
I'm very confused. It was like, it just said, hey. I was like, hi.
That's what happens when you do Control V Enter. It just sends the message instead of doing what you want.
That's unfortunate.
All right, and then we're gonna jump to Weather Trollbot 5000. And Greg, I've got you introducing the segment. So you have a good intro to the segment. So I'm gonna start Mr. Roboto music, and then you can come in with explaining what that is, and then turn it over to me, and I'll do that. I'm just doing 2 tonight. We'll keep it short. And then Freak Fan Box, MJ. Yes?
I technically don't have anything, so maybe
Just make it up. Just be like Bob or Billy.
All right, then I won't.
Brad Pitt wrote
Yeah.
it in.
He's a
You guys
fan.
are the best.
You guys
That
are
is
awesome.
fake news. Stop it.
All right, so we're gonna skip Freak Fan Box because no one loves us.
right.
Oh, aw.
God.
No one emails anymore. They just TikTok. You know?
Well, what they do now is they'll like send us, like MJ's got a weather fool because we had listeners send us weather
Right,
fools, right?
Good job,
They'll
MJ.
send us that stuff. They'll send us. I get Trollbot
No
stuff
original
all the
thought.
time from listeners. It's good stuff.
You know, we need to have a Stormfront Freaks fan, or TikTok. That would be
Oh,
kind
boy.
of cool.
Brady, what did I send you?
What?
What did I send
You
you?
said
What's
hi.
on your
Said,
text?
hey,
No, text, not your email.
text. I don't know.
Text him.
Well, I don't know what text is. I'm well past text.
What did you text?
The order.
I sent you a text that said, oh, maybe I didn't.
Still
Maybe,
alive.
yeah. I was thinking it. I should.
Yeah, I wanted to send you a text to say, hey, do you want to do you want to set up a Stormfront Freaks TikTok and run it?
Maybe, but I don't know about the China thing. So
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
really,
You can't get the virus that way.
Sure, you're okay.
no, but they get all this data from your phone, though. And then I heard they can take control of your phone. I'll look into it.
Okay.
So you're worried about TikTok, yet you're saying, Phil, we should do TikTok. Dude.
Yes!
As long as it's you, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking do it.
As long
Get
as
a
they
burn.
affect Phil's phone.
I'm on TikTok. I'll see what I can do.
All right. Well, whoever wants to grab
Jen, I
that
can
and
help
run
with-
with
I
it,
can help the
you can
content.
set up a Stormfront Freaks TikTok.
I'm pretty viral. We're both. I feel like you and I are both pretty viral people. So
Well, it's okay. So really
That could
random.
go a
Before we
lot
go
of
any
ways.
longer,
I know.
I interviewed.
Letting it go.
I interviewed the UK Met Office content creators. The government, the United Kingdom government, has content creators for their social channels. And if you go search Met Office on TikTok, Brady, or whoever, and you will see all the cool things they're doing, and they're partnering with TikTok for TikTok learning, which is kind of neat too, teaching about the weather.
that's
So
pretty cool.
it is cool.
Huh, okay.
You should check them out.
Mhm.
So yeah. Anyway,
Apparently, I'm pretty old. I don't know what the heck.
get going.
I love you, Tina. You just gotta go to
I
bed.
gotta go to bed.
All right. So here, let's get ready to roll. So, Brady, it'll come into you. You got everybody. It's got a weather fool, and it's episode 118 show notes. All right. Then I'm going to go to Mr. Roboto, and Greg, you can introduce Weather Trollbot 5000, and I've got a couple folks for that will play. We're going to skip Freak Fan Box and just jump to the close. And we're going to close it out. Everybody good?
Mercifully.
Yep, let's roll.
All right, so here we go. Wait, hold on. Here we go in 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show. That's right. The music is playing, the Who is on, and it's time for Weather Fools. Now, for those of you that it's your first time or you may forget, Weather Fools is us as the freaks. We're going on the internet. We're going on TikTok. We're going on Reddit. We're going on Facebook. Anywhere where we can find a video, a picture, a story of someone doing something not so smart, and it relates to the weather. Phil, I understand you may have 1 to 4 Weather Fools this week.
I've got 4, and this is gonna
stupid people out there right now.
This is the speed round. So I've got 4 of them. One of them is from AccuWeather. Brady, you might remember them. I think you maybe interned with them a little bit.
I did.
But this is a video of, this was actually in Ireland, and this was during Hurricane Epsilon, and this was a surfer. This dude was surfing like waves that you can't even see the surfer. He's so small.
My gosh.
Compared to these waves.
How do they survive this?
That's what I'm wondering. Now, if you notice, there's a bunch of people on jet skis ready to save his ass.
Yes, there are.
That's the recovery team.
Oh, and he's still up.
Oh my
This
God.
is crazy. The size of these waves. This guy's surfing. And I'll tell everybody, Weather Fool, it's on a line. It's on a very thin line, right, between you're a total moron and that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And this probably falls a little bit on the other, the cool side of things, but amazing what this was doing. All right, next one. This was in Nicaragua, Hurricane Eta.
Oh, no.
And this guy was trying to basically save the roof of his house from coming off.
No.
Why is
And
he
so
hanging off a tree?
Oh my God.
while the hurricane's coming through, he's trying to keep his body on his roof so that his roof doesn't come off his house.
Oh,
More
no.
important
And you
than
can
that-
already
than
tell
that
branches
roof.
and massive
Oh
trees
my God,
have fallen.
huge tree down.
Yeah.
Also, is this the strongest man on earth? What's happening?
Oh, wow.
But I
got
wouldn't
some
recommend.
skills.
That's a definitely don't do this at home. All
That
right,
is
ABC News.
Foolish.
This is a lightning strike at a soccer field in Spain.
Oh my.
Oh no!
And if you notice this, the lightning strike happens like right on the field, but the problem is there's a bunch of people still hanging around.
Yes.
Like they were hiding under a tree or something stupid like that. And there's even a guy running from the goal.
I was gonna say,
And I
there's
mean-
one that just ran off.
He was seconds away from getting his ass hit by a lightning strike. Like at what point did they finally decide, it's close. We better
not be out there.
we better evacuate. All right, and then the last one is downtown Miami, bad flooding. Tropical storm Eta came through, and of course it's the good old,
drive
turn
right
around,
into it.
don't drown. Cars that just thought, it's up to my headlights. I should be able to make it.
Hey, that one guy
I
was
can
using a
make it.
blinker though, so good on you.
That's right. He
Why the
was
blinker?
stalled.
Like, come on.
Using his
proper
blinkers.
etiquette.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. So
You
those
hate
are my
to see
four weather fools.
you hate to see it,
That's
Phil.
pretty
Those are-
good, Phil.
Yeah,
Good
those
job.
are pretty good. Those are pretty good. You did pretty well on time, although I doubt you'll be the quickest here. Dina, who is your weather fool this week?
All right, this one's great. Okay, so I'm proud of this because I found this before and I got the Weather Channel to clear it and we put it on our app. And this is a Lamborghini
Oh, no.
that takes on
No.
Ada's floodwater in Florida. Now, I'm assuming
No,
Lamborghinis are kind of low to the ground.
Yeah.
He's coming through floodwater.
no, it's a
This
submarine.
guy looks like he's
In the
going in a
hell?
submarine. You know when you look at a submarine video and they go underwater and the water comes up over? Look at that.
He's
That's
underneath.
crazy.
He's
No.
underneath.
Son
Is
of
he-
a
is he
dope.
is he out?
Does he have
Now,
to
does
start
anybody know
over?
why you would do
engine.
that with a car like that?
No
I
kidding.
don't know. That thing is so expensive.
Let alone actually driving through the water. What the hell are you doing driving that car in that weather
I don't
period?
know. Maybe he
Right.
stole it. You never know. But the way that it goes under the water reminds me of like when you're watching something on Noah and the submarine goes underwater. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Reminds me of
Large-
Batman.
There
large
was a car
disposable
behind him.
income.
They were like following him. They're like, "Oh, this
How that
Lamborghini's
thing
got
made
it. I
through
got
there, I
it."
don't know.
Wow,
Wow.
that's pretty
All right.
insane.
That
I'm
was
surprised.
terrible.
I'm surprised he didn't stall out. Just
I
gonna be
am
honest,
too.
but-
I want to know if like there's a lot of water inside the car.
Yeah, Maz, you said the sunroof looked like it was open.
I know. I was like,
Wow.
Then it was probably stolen.
Potentially.
Ah,
All right,
right,
Dina, that
right.
was pretty great. Let's get to Jen. I understand you have a weather fool this week.
I do. And well, I had two, but I will let someone else do that one. Because it was pretty awesome. So this is Brad Panovich, our guest that was our last episode. So, and I thought this was intriguing from the other one that I'd found, but there really isn't anyone coming towards this snake. It's just a friendly reminder of the fact that this is a copperhead, and that not only are people running from the floodwater, it's actually, nature, snakes, whatever you can name it are. And the fact that this copperhead is kind of blending in a little bit with his surroundings as well, you may not quite notice it at first. So this was by Brad, just letting people know wildlife are also trying to escape all the flooding that has been going on. And they've seen crazy flooding.
Can you
So
imagine somebody reaching down to like grab the handle and they grab a snake instead? Ugh.
That's the National Weather Service turnaround. Don't get your ass bit by a poisonous snake campaign.
Very, very common.
Yes.
Don't they sometimes snakes come up the toilets in floods?
Yeah.
Only on
Oh my
planes,
God,
though.
do they?
Only on
I've heard
No
that.
way.
Maz, don't
Sweet
tell me
dream
wrong.
tonight.
Why are you telling me this?
No.
Oh,
Yep.
Always
that's why you
look.
always put the lid on the toilet before you go to bed.
And always look before you say.
That's smart.
Well, Jen, that was pretty good. I think I'll go next here. So like you said, Jen, we had the same weather fool this week, but I kind of called dibs on it because I've actually golfed at this golf course. I golfed there about 3 weeks ago. It's a Valencia Golf Club in Naples,
This is
Florida.
awesome.
Yeah, and this was just as Tropical Storm Eta was moving through, and they were getting a lot of rain. So, like we were kind of talking about, wildlife has kind of been displaced a little bit, but it's not out of the ordinary. You see a gator down there, but look at the size of this thing.
See, I see this and think you got to have the music bad to the bone. Bad to the bone.
And for everyone that's listening to this podcast, you probably have seen it somewhere on social media. It is literally a gator that's the size of a small golf cart. I mean, this thing is massive, and you do not want to be anywhere near it.
I don't know where they are, whoever's filming that, but that's too close. I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
And can you imagine?
There's somebody's house
there's
right there.
houses there. You know, like I would never want to live by water in Florida like that. You don't know what's coming in your backyard.
Well, they definitely don't have problem with kids running around their neighborhood causing trouble.
Jesus.
Or small dogs.
I'm 6'4". I have no doubt that gator could eat me whole. I mean, it's just to give viewers a perspective. It is that just massive. So,
all right, kids are bothering us. Send the gator.
All right, Greg, I understand you have a weather fool this week. Who is
listen, I think I'm the last one too. Hey, Brady, on this segment. So you got one more. Okay, so you got
MJ. Last but not least.
Okay, so my I think it's too bad Dr. Forbes isn't here because if you're a football fan, you either love Tom Brady or you hate Tom Brady. And Brady had a great experience with and I don't know when the second landfall of ETA or ETA or ETA or whatever you guys call it. But Tom Brady had a little bit of a tragedy. He lost 2 jet skis and his dock from his new home in Tampa Bay when the tropical storm came through. And if you get a chance to check out the link in the show notes, he tells the story about watching his jet skis float away. But I think we don't feel too bad for him. I think Tom can probably afford to replace the jet skis. Oh yeah, that's Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's Tom.
That's what happens when you spend your life in Boston and then go to Tampa.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't even look like him.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, you know.
So anyway, I thought it was kind of funny.
Yes.
He learned his lesson that if you move to Tampa Bay and there's a tropical storm rolling through, you gotta tie everything off
Bring in
really,
those
really
jet
well.
skis.
Take it out of the water.
Yep.
You know,
Wow.
whatever, Tom.
Well,
Whatever.
that sucks for Tom. I'm sure he'll get a couple more. I think he's doing pretty well, so I don't think he'll have a problem. All right. Last but not least, MJ, who is your weather fool this week?
Okay, so this was submitted to us by our friend Jay is Painting, and it is called a close call. And the point is raging floodwaters, and you're standing on a road, and there it goes. You're standing on the bridge, and there goes part of the bridge. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe don't want to be there when those when that
yeah.
raging
Notice
flood
there's
is
a
coming
guy on the
underneath.
other side
Other
that
side
fell.
running away.
He is
Running.
booking it. I mean,
Yes,
he
he
is
is.
booking it across
Yep,
the
absolutely.
across the bridge.
That's
Play
terrifying.
that one more time here.
That is
Because,
freaking scary.
Yeah, they just all of a sudden it just right next to their feet practically.
Wow.
There it goes.
How is he still standing there filming though? Like get out.
Yeah,
of
they
the
don't
way.
move. All right, they don't move very far away.
It's like,
He's
I
moving
can
to the
get
end.
closer.
Getting closer.
I know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, so there's a fool for you.
That's a big
Wow.
fool.
Well, I'm glad
The rest
he's
of the bridge
okay.
is still good.
I'm glad he's okay, but that was pretty insane. So, all right, well, we're going to have all of these videos and more. If you would check out, so this is show 118 in your favorite podcast app. Check out the show notes. We'll have the links to all of those videos and much, much more. Phil, I'll kick it over.
All right. Well, it's time for everybody. I think it's everybody's favorite part of the show. Weather Trollbot 5000. This is the part of the show where all the storm freaks, we scour the internet for the clips of people trolling our friends in the weather community, getting really nasty things said about them and how they react. And here's what we do with Weather Trollbot is we take that information, we take those comments that these viewers and fans, quote unquote fans make, and Phil, you're gonna input that information into Weather Trollbot 5000, and she's gonna spit out what this person was actually saying.
That's absolutely correct, and we've done a couple upgrades. We've been working on upgrading Weather Trollbot 5000 a little bit, so her voice vocabulator is a lot better than it used to be.
Oh,
she almost sounds like a real person almost. But so I've got two to share with you guys tonight, and both of them are listeners that have shared with us some trolls. The first one is from listener Jen Walton. And of course, she's sharing with us I think we're going to call this now the Ginger Z Weather Trollbot 5000. But this is Ginger Z, who's the chief meteorologist, ABC News, Good Morning America. And this came from Melissa, was on Twitter. And her handle is @StonerChick1989.
Seems legit.
Already.
And she says, ouch, I think Ginger Z needs to fire her stylist, especially makeup. It's a tad stark and reminiscent of bad 80s punk hooker. A beautiful lady, though. More natural would be a better way to go. So like total rip and then, she's really beautiful. But
wow, Stoner Chick.
That's from Stoner Chick, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Ginger comes back, and all of our weather friends. I mean, it's almost borderline like, come on, right? Because they're so professional and so nice, and like most of us can't even imagine being that nice, responding to stuff like this. And Ginger says, "Woo, that was harsh. Since I do everything myself, trying my best."
Wow, see, that's nice. It also makes you feel a little bad for her too.
Yeah.
So what we do is we got to take that information. We got to basically we're going to plug it into Weather Trollbot 5000. and then what she's going to do is she spits out exactly what our weather friends were thinking when they responded. So here's what Weather Trollbot thought Ginger was thinking. And she's sometimes delayed, right? She's old. We
She's
bought her at a
sleeping?
garage sale. Don't
She's
forget.
sleeping.
Nah, we bought her at a garage sale.
Taking
Poor
a deep
troll
breath.
bot.
You know,
Place her
It's
batteries
weather
in
etch a sketch.
it's and it comes out in this
5,000.
paper. It's even though her voice is really good, it comes out in this paper tape. Here we go. Let's try it again. And wow, Weather Trollbot. Come on, girl.
Oh, I love Weather Trollbot too.
Come on, girl.
Stop. Please don't say she's broke.
Well, gosh, I don't know. Bear with me. We're gonna go back. Let me try. I'm gonna enter this again. Bear with me, everybody.
So what? Oh, there we go.
Hold on.
Are you typing with one hand? That's impressive.
Wow.
Talented.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
There you go.
It's like you don't have to
We did all these
impersonate
freaking
Weather Trollbot.
upgrades. We did all of these upgrades. Come on, girl. Come on, work with me.
It's okay. Is there a male version that can?
Well, there might be. I'll have to read the ticker tape, but you'll have to bear with me on that one.
Read it in a robotic voice.
All right, so she's not going to work. So here's what she spit out.
Oh boy.
Okay, so here we go. Here is what Ginger was really thinking. More natural, says Stoner Chick 1989. I've seen your profile pic, Melissa, and you could use a little 80s punk rock and hooker style. Though, she's not done. Though it may not do any good, I'm sure there's beauty in there somewhere. Now, I hope this gets to Stormfront Freaks podcast so they can use this on their next Trollbot 5000 episode.
That's amazing.
That's what Trollbot was saying.
There we go.
That's a lot of words for the vocabulary.
Well, maybe that's why it didn't work.
Maybe that's why it didn't. You're right.
We're gonna give Trollbot one more shot, and she might go in our next garage sale. But here we go. All right, the next one. This is from another listener. Randy Jennings sent this to us. Matthew Capucci, who is a meteorologist at the Washington Post and American University Radio, got an email from Patrick. Patrick said, and this is a lot here, must you sound so infantile every time? What's remarkable is not the warm November weather, but how you got and keep your role. You should work for Trump. You're both insufferably irrepressible.
Oh my
Now, I don't
God.
even know what that means.
I don't even know what that
I'm
means.
like,
either.
is he
Neither.
use big words?
You got to be a deplorable to understand that. So.
Probably. All right.
I
So,
get it. I totally get it.
Patrick.
so here's how Matthew responds. Matthew said, Patrick emails me reliably every month or two.
Oh, jeez.
Today it's because I eagerly announce the upcoming forecast featuring spring-like warmth. With all the other crazy stuff going on, isn't it something that folks can still complain about a weather forecast? Bless his heart.
Oh.
See, that's a really
Yes.
pro response. That's pro.
Right. And it's almost enough to go, are you kidding me? But so we're going to try this again. I'm going to go ahead and punch this into Weather Trollbot. And we're going to hope that she can come up with something. And she is not.
Dang.
Fucking
Bot.
Weather Trollbot. See,
Uncle Phil.
Dang.
so I got to read this ticker tape, which is hard to read because it's
He's
a
going
bunch
to have
of
one for you, Phil.
Yeah, it's a bunch of
Yes.
bunch of dots and all right. Here's what Matthew was really thinking. Weather Trollbot said, "Oh, if it isn't my old reliable shit-stained Patrick, you still haven't realized the world needs you right now like a bullet to the head. Take the warm fucking November weather as my gift to you. I'm sure you'll keep me subscribed to the Patrick Stupid Comment of the Month Club. You're the gift that keeps on giving the whole year."
That's
That's
amazing. I love the shit stain. I've never heard of that before. I think that's hilarious.
All right, so we're taking auditions for Weather Trollbot 5000's new voice. If anybody wants a piece
So
of
did you
that.
check the batteries?
That's a good point. Like, did you plug her in? That's
Did you
usually
plug
the
it
first
in?
guy
Yeah.
that
You
he
hit the
responds.
power button.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. We want to thank everybody for listening or watching. If you like the show, we always encourage you, please don't forget to subscribe to or follow the show, so that you can get notified. So when the minute we release these new episodes, you'll be the first to be notified. Hey, there's a new episode available, and it's all free, and it's right there in your podcast app the moment we release it. I also encourage you, visit patreon.com/StormfrontFreaks to check out all the ways you can support us and how we can do more with you, like live access to view our raw recordings and chat with us. Might be the monthly virtual happy hours with our freaks. Who's in, by the way? Who's in for the virtual happy hour?
Oh, I'm in.
I figured that much.
Just let me know when.
And you can even join us and our guests in the green room of our show recordings. So just visit patreon.com/StormfrontFreaks to join. And a special thank you for supporting our efforts to bring you this content. Definitely special thanks to our guest tonight, Dr. Greg Forbes.
That was awesome. This is great. I mean, this was probably one of the better shows we've had, and the fact that we had all of our freaks, our co-hosts on tonight, made it that much more special. Phil, I was fanboying. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty awesome.
You were drooling a little bit.
No, I was like not wanting to ask a stupid question, so I was just like, I'm gonna shut up the whole time, just because it was cool. It was cool just to listen. I mean, it was awesome.
It was good.
But
stuff.
Jen was like, I know I was your producer, but can I call you Dr. Greg?
We're on a first name basis.
That's Stormmaster G to you.
That's right.
So, hey, our next episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming back with our 5th year of our holiday weather shopping special, just in time for Black Friday. So visiting with us is going to be children's author and meteorologist Serena Marie Arnold. We're also going to be reviewing and giving away weather gifts from Midland Radio, Ambient Weather, Allison House, Sanjian Radio's Team Dominator, and more. So it's going to be a great show. Patreon members at the EF5 merch and more level or above, they're going to have an exclusive drawing for some of that merchandise as well. So be sure to become a Patreon member now before the show records, so you can join us live and also qualify for some of those other giveaways. We are going to be recording a week from tonight, so it's a little bit different. It's earlier than normal. We're normally a bi-weekly show, but for us to be able to release this by Thanksgiving, we got to record a little bit early. So Thursday, November 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have that audio podcast available by Thanksgiving. So for MJ and Matt, the whole arc, right? Noah's Ark is here. MJ, Maz, Brady, Dina, Kim, Greg, Jen, for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear. We'll catch everybody next time. So good night. Thank you, everybody. You guys came prepared tonight. I was impressed with the questions and everything, and there wasn't a whole lot of Googling and oogling besides Greg drooling a little bit over Dr. Forbes. But I know sometimes when we bring back our Weather Channel folks, I sometimes worry about, all the, hey, you remember that time, that you and I and Paul McCartney were hanging out? That was great. That was awesome.
Paul McCartney.
That never happened.
Or something.
Yeah.
That never happened.
No, seriously, you guys came prepared. There's some great questions, and Dr. Forbes, his responses were much more eloquent than I even would have expected with all the stories. And
Oh, I know.
this is going to be one of our longest shows because of that. But to me, I think this is actually one of our best shows. To have all of you on, we had everybody on tonight. It was cool. And Dr. Forbes on. So thank you. You guys did a great job.
It was great.
Thank you, Phil.
So did you, Phil.
Planning it all.
Yeah.
Good job,
I'm
Phil.
fucking getting rid of Weather Trollbot. Damn it. I don't know what happened.
Finally.
Damn upgrades.
Oh, you're in next time.
Why? I have no idea why that didn't work.
I'll be with her for that.
You need to
So
upgrade.
she was
the batteries
shy.
are dead.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
Oh,
Tim.
thanks, Tim.
Oh, bye, Tim.
You're awesome, Tim.
Bye, Tim.
So I'll share
Brady
this while
blocked.
Tim is still on and Dan's here. So and you guys may or may not know this too, behind the scenes right now. So Weather Trollbot. So what I do is I use, obviously, and you probably know this, I use my iPhone.
What?
And in the notes, in the notes. So I type in the crap in the notes, and then I highlight it, and I have Siri speak it, right? And I do not know why
How
Siri.
smart.
I thought Weather Trollbot was real.
I did
Yeah.
too. I'm so disappointed.
Are you
Siri's
kidding?
Here's
Like
what Ginger was
Alexa
really
better.
thinking.
Fuck, see,
There
Your
it is.
natural says Stoner Chick 1989. I've seen your profile pic, Melissa, and you could use a little 80s punk rock and hooker style, though it may not do any good. I'm sure there's beauty in there somewhere. Now I hope this gets to Stormfront Freaks podcast so they can use this on their next Trollbot 5000 episode.
So, Phil, are you saying that an apple failed on you?
Oh.
Yeah.
And if they're
So
paying
what I
for it,
just did is I ended up closing out and reopening the app again.
Might have
but-
been a pebcac.
Matthew was really thinking, oh, if it isn't my old reliable shit stain Patrick, you still haven't realized the world needs you right now like a bullet to the head. Take the warm, fucking November weather as my gift to you. I'm sure you'll keep me subscribed to the Patrick Stupid Comment of the Month Club. You're the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
It sounds better when she does it.
Ah, it
But you
sounds
need
a
to
lot
give her that
better.
Australian accent.
I might be able to edit
I
those.
agree, Kim. I agree.
Yeah, don't you
Yeah.
think? I think that'd
Yeah,
be cool.
I
Maybe we
agree.
edit that in. The Australian accent, you think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Kim.
Totally.
I think
All right,
it'd be
well, I'll work on that.
Okay.
It was enough work just to get her to work.
Well, you gotta talk to her more.
Job.
She's been lonely. She was angry at you. You gotta do some more
I
one-on-one
thought
time.
you liked Alexa better.
True.
Could be. She's probably sad. That's the only thing I use her for is to swear and cuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds
can we just
fun.
have a normal conversation, Phil?
God.
That's hilarious.
All right, guys. I'm out of
Thank you,
here.
guys.
I'll see
See you
y'all
guys.
later.
all right. Good
Hey,
morning, everybody.
Great
Phil,
seeing you
just
guys.
before you take off, I just had a question about next week's show. If you got a minute.
Yeah, what's up?
So you had asked me a while back about products. I actually do have something for the show, or is it too late?
Is it you or somebody else?
No, it's me.
It's yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. We
Like
we can,
for a giveaway, I mean.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that. I don't have a problem helping you.
Okay.
And doing something. So yeah. So what? So in this, because this will be your first year that you go through this, Greg. But
Yeah.
So we've basically done this every year, and I usually send out emails to, number of businesses and companies, with weather related stuff, and say, hey, we're doing the show. We'll review your product, promote your product, and then send us a second unit that we can do for giveaway, and we'll give it away and promote you on social media or whatever else on the giveaway. And so this is our 5th year doing it. I was a little late kind of getting started this year, and it requires a lot of follow-up because you send something, then you got to send something again, and then some people respond back, what is this all about? So there's a lot of time goes into it too, but we usually, get stuff, and then I will send it out to whoever's going to be on the show that night to review it, but I'm usually sending that out a few weeks in advance so they can actually try it out and review it. And this year it's not going to happen. I'm going to send it out, and some people will get it maybe day of the show, and some people will get it after the show. So it's more going to be a highlight. Hey, here's this product, and here's what it does, and this is what it can do, and blah, 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 as opposed to here's how I've used it, and here's what I think, and here's what I like about it.
Okay, cool.
So it's going to be a little different this year because of that. But yeah, if you've got something,
well, I actually
just email me or something. Or
yeah, I was gonna what I was gonna send and tell me how this would work, but I have a couple subscriptions to my online camera lessons.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
sweet.
for anybody who wants to
yeah, people
learn-
would love that shit. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, So anyway, I'll send you something on email and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So then I'll just have I'll have you talk about it, and
cool.
And then we'll give it
So
away.
don't worry, I'll review my product. I'll get a bag of water and talk about that.
I guess. Hey, I gotta have Jacob ask Dina her questions quick here before.
Okay.
she's
Okay,
gotta
I'm going to take off, guys.
roll.
All right.
Bye, Greg.
Good seeing you, everybody.
See you guys. Peace.
Bye.
All right.
There's only a few more.
Yeah, there's only a few more questions.
Okay.
So, do you think that meteorologists get the respect they deserve for what they do?
No.
Why? Why do you think they don't?
No, because weather is never 100% accurate. So there's times you're going to be wrong. And so people think if you're not right 100%, that you don't know what you're doing. Even if you are right a lot, they just automatically assume you're wrong. Say like it's storming, you're going to say, okay, you have a 60% chance of storms, and it storms down the street, but it's fine at your house. They're like, oh, you blew it. You blew it.
Yeah.
And I think too, there's not always that much respect for people, except if you're on TV. To be quite honest, you know, there's a lot that goes into something besides the person that's delivering the message. There's a lot going into it, you know, a lot of prep, a lot of work, a lot of research, stats, things like that. And then they go on, you know, maybe for 1 minute,
Right.
you know, and they just deliver it. So there's a lot of things about that. You got to just have some thick skin.
Good. He's just finishing typing.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So now moving on to the Stormfront Freaks. How did you find yourself in the Stormfront Freaks podcast?
Phil got a hold of me as a guest for their third show. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay. I don't know Phil, but I've never been on a podcast, but this ought to be fun. And then when we got on, we had so much fun. They got back to me and said, do you kind of want to join the team? I'm like, yeah. And then now we're talking about the 5th year. It's amazing how fast this has gone. So I was a guest. That's how it really started.
Yeah. What do you think sets the Stormfront Freaks apart from other weather groups?
It's not all just science-y weather. We can just kind of kick back, have fun, and talk. You know, everybody talks about weather. Weather impacts every single person, every single thing on this planet. So it's not like you're getting into something that only a small fraction of people talk about. And we can kick back, explain it, have fun with it, joke about it. And I think just be relaxed about it. And it's understandable. And we drink.
Yeah. And we drink.
We do.
That's funny. Everybody on my screen has frozen, but I can still hear everyone. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you froze too on my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to get through it. Here you go.
Okay.
Yeah, only two more. What is your favorite and what is your least favorite thing about the Stormfront Freaks podcast?
My least favorite is that it's late.
Yeah.
And I have to get up. I mean, I start work at 3 a.m. So my favorite thing is just everybody on it. I mean, we all get along very well. We have fun together. It reminds me, I think when you get kind of bogged down in your job, something that you spent a lot of time to get and study for, you sometimes get bogged down and you're like, oh, I'm so sick of weather. I don't even talk about it anymore. And then you get on the podcast and it just revives you a little bit. I mean, it gets me back in the mood to talk about weather and have fun with it again. Because I think after 23 years, sometimes I'm like, weather, blah,
Sure.
sick of it. I don't want to see another hurricane. I don't want anybody asking me, why'd you get it wrong or something, or you guys are always wrong. You can get on here and have a good time and talk about stuff and get into it. So I think that's just the relationship you have, and to see like people get interactive with you. Like even when for our 100th show when we were in Oklahoma City and people showed up for that was great.
Awesome. One more once he's done.
Okay.
And yeah, lastly, how long do you plan to do this podcast for?
Until I can't do it anymore. I don't know. I mean, I don't plan on leaving. I can still do it as long as I can still wake up in the morning.
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you very much for staying
thank
up
you.
late.
That's okay.
Awesome. You're gonna help me get a good grade, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right. What is this for exactly?
It's for an ethnography paper for my writing 1301 class.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let me know how you do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll have him on to tell us about how he did
Okay.
and what the comments were that he got from the instructor.
Yeah, I mean, because it's funny. Like I see some young people come in and they're so excited about everything and things, and like after you've done it a while and you've kind of like getting burned out, you're getting up early every morning and you're sitting in the dark and you're like, ugh. You know, you want to have some fun with it again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. All right, thanks.
All right, you guys have a
All
good
right,
one.
Good night, Dina.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey,
Y'all
do you
have a
want-
good night.
Do you want?
Yep. Good
do you
night,
want me
Dan.
to- Oh, you heading out, Dan? All right.
Oh, well, I mean,
No, I was gonna quick ask MJ. Do you want me to play those Weather Trollbot clips?
I suppose you could again. I think I can get them from what you played because it still has people's reactions kind of in the background.
Okay. Tell you what. It obviously won't take long.
Yeah, do it just in
I'll
case.
play it one more time.
Here's what Ginger was really thinking. More natural, says Donor Chick 1989. I've seen your profile pic, Melissa, and you could use a little 80s punk rock and hooker style, though it may not do any good. I'm sure there's beauty in there somewhere. Now I hope this gets to Stormfront Freaks podcast so they can use this on their next Troll But 5000 episode.
And number 2.
Here's what Matthew was really thinking. Oh, if it isn't my old reliable shit stain.